Hey, it's day 2 of the Lavacrete Utility Lodge Workshop. If you've ever wondered what goes into making a workshop, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And so we're up early this morning before most everyone else, except for Isaiah, he's up helping. We're making window forms because hopefully we're putting window forms in today and we don't want to slow everybody down. Now we are going to still talk about how to build them and kind of show people how it works, but if we were to sit here and like build these window forms while everyone's watching, it's not the best use of time. So Gurudas and Isaiah are working on that this morning, and then I have a crazy idea for some art stuff on the south side of this building that might mimic some of the mountain range here. So I'm going to work on that and see if we can make this happen. If it doesn't, I'm okay with it, but it's a pretty cool idea. I'm going to try to make it happen.
Jonathan. Yeah. How's it going? I met you online.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
Morning.
All right.
How you doing?
Ready to get dirty.
You want to see my crazy idea?
Let's do it.
It's going to be messy, you know?
No, but I think we can build like a frame almost.
Good.
Welcome to day 2 of the Lavacrete Workshop. We have some new faces here today. We're glad you guys are here. We've made really good progress yesterday. We got about a lift and a half finished. And so today we're going to keep going up. We have some fun art stuff that we're working on. I think windows are probably going to go in, hopefully, depending on how fast we go. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. Here's what we're doing. Hi, Paul. Everybody, this is Paul.
That's the exciting part. It is bigger than me. We evolved around it. It has all these hidden things that it knows that we don't know.
And I've got a 7-day, a 14-day, a 28-day, and a 56-day cylinder that I will crush. And then during the construction of the building, I will also label and squirrel away my own samples so I can test them throughout my lifetime. Because I want to know, and Paul wants to know too. So in the future, as you're experimenting, we must stay connected so that we can share notes. And it's really important to have data available for other people. And when we share communication across international borders, it is a very positive thing for humanity and the entire planet. And so 6-1 today. Tomorrow, it could be something else. So let's get to work, you guys.
All right, day 2 of the Lavacrete Workshop. The pre-work is done. Now everybody's here and we're getting going. I am still working on this crazy mountain idea. I think we're almost there. We've got to get that installed on this lift so that we can keep going up. And if people are kind of waiting to fill that part of the building. So I got to get some stuff. Hopefully this is going to work out. So, Hannah, what happened at the entrance?
So
Ready? Go ahead and put it up to our marks on the inside.
I can get.
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
Because this one you drew like really nice.
Go for it then. Get the bottom of the plywood is to that line, right?
yeah.
Perfect.
You got it.
Got it. Got it.
Okay.
Beauty.
Just gonna go down in a line here.
So why are you installing the window like this, Guru Das?
So that we can get lava in here and tamp the sill from the inside real nice.
So there's
And
no
then-
bottom on it.
There's no bottom on it. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think that one is good. That one's
Perky dang level 2. Okay, great. But I'm just gonna hold
leave
it.
the next one over at my line.
Go ahead.
All right, going.
Oh, okay, never mind. Bottom.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be from that pile.
Pretty thick.
We'll have to put it in whatever dimension. Okay. Keep going. Well, actually, no, that's too far.
I got
Come
to
back.
explore the whole city.
A little bit more? A little bit more?
I
Right there.
actually went to triangular school, and it's a lot different than Chicago.
Hey, I found a way.
All right, guys. Hope everyone had a delicious lunch. Ashley had to go get more food, but I would just like to say how good of a cook is Ashley.
Yeah, all right.
We are excited that Paul is here. I don't know Paul that well. We hung out one day and I filmed an interview with him. There's a ton of stuff I have no idea what he's going to talk about. I'm excited to learn with you guys, but we're really honored that he took the time to come out here and to talk to us and share his story, because other than Randy and Rollo, you guys are sort of the OG Lavacrete guys, right? He's been doing this a really long time. He's got a ton of knowledge and a ton of experience. And we're just really thankful that he took the time out to come and talk to us and share with us. So thank you, Paul. And the floor is yours. You're free to talk about whatever you want.
Okay. Okay, glad to be here. I mean, this has been fun for me too. I mean, these guys and Guru Das, and I figured it at some point. I've been wanting this sort of to catch hold, and Guru Das is probably a great example of that, because it's completely independent. Whatever the problems are, he fixes them. I mean, end of story, and moves forward, and it's great. And I like seeing what happens if I'm not managing it. This started for me in college. A guy named Randy Ewers, who's another architecture student. His father was doing some scoria. They call it scoria. Now, scoria is the sort of the word for lava. In New Mexico, they call it scoria. In Arizona, they call it cinder. Anyway, he was doing that, and when we both graduated, he built a house. And that was actually my first hands-on experience. And there was something about this that I thought was terrific. It was messy, and he built the whole thing in 1 foot lifts, and it was primitive, but it was solid. And I just thought, man, there's something here. So when I graduated, I thought, well, let me just sort of apply some basic concrete other technology to this. But over the years, it just I end up building a machine that would create this cement. It's exactly the way I want it, and dial it in. And I was looking for something that would give me a continuous mix rather than a batch. So I wasn't even thinking about it, and just sort of step by step kind of working my way. I've tried augers and different kinds of conveyors, and rented equipment and ruined those, so they wouldn't rent to me anymore. I mean, it's been a long history. So I ended up having to build these monstrosities, the machine that's bigger than a truck. Anyway, it's been And my whole, I mean, I'm an architect, but I spend an amazing amount of time welding. Just this stuff. And then throwing it away because it wouldn't work. You know, but that's, I guess, just part of the process. And over the years, I think it's gotten fine-tuned. And I don't brag about what I do typically because it's just, I think now, barely getting ready to scale. I've tried pumping it. A 1/4-inch trough wears out in 2 days. It is that abrasive.
Because it's scarring.
Yeah. This fits, it's designed to fit into the plain concrete code. Plain concrete means typically, usually it's not reinforced and it's not the adobe code. Plain concrete is kind of where concrete started years and years and years ago. And so it, you know, the entire building codes are probably built around concrete as a material. So there's an awful lot of specs on plain concrete, but no one ever uses it because we've moved on to other things. I'm using it. And it's there for me to use with all the engineering, and I'm using it. Now I can go to Adobe code. I mean, the material is just, it's an aggregate and cement, and you can try all different kinds of binders for ecology reasons or whatever. I'm using concrete as a placekeeper, not because I love it, but because my business is the sandcastle business beyond that. But all that can still fit into the building code in a variety of ways. For example, if I were to go with the Adobe code, because you don't need a lot, you need way less strength than this stuff will give, and the walls are they tend to be so thick that there's a lot of support. Either way, that still is a spec concrete. So within the code, that works for me in most cases because this stuff is just already strong. If I need to get like a long span, then I'll put a lot of steel in there. And that section will fall into the reinforced concrete code. There's actually no difference to me and the crew, except that you got to put the steel in there. I put rebar in at 48 on center, vertical and horizontal. I do a lot of that just because I can connect conduits to that. It's the mandrel to make everything, sort of the work beyond that work a little. So the inspector gets there, he sees the steel, everything that I need for the entire job. Ordinarily, it would take an inspector, that's like 3 visits, minimum probably, you know? So, and that's just on one section. Well, if I can get all that steel in, he makes one inspection, check, walks away, he's happy. He knows all the steel's gonna be there. Whether it's reinforced or plain concrete, it's all there. And I kind of like, I don't want the inspectors on my job either, but you know, anybody with a clipboard, you know, it's dangerous. But I've never had a problem getting into the building code. It scares everybody. I mean, new people who have never seen it, but once they look at the engineering and the engineering says, oh yeah, well, 1000 PSI, we've done this before, it's engineered, get it tested. You know, this jurisdiction doesn't have a problem with it and they know all about it. There's another thing that I have to explain to some building codes. If you have a wall that's, I guess it's more than 10 inches thick, you have to have 2 mats of steel, inside and outside. Lava does not shrink like regular concrete does. All that steel is really to manage the shrink cracks. I don't have a shrink crack problem. So only 1 mat is all I need. And quite often I'll do a wall this thick with 1 mat of steel. And you know, I tell the engineer to mark that the inside foot and the outside 8 inches or whatever. I just say that's sacrificial. We don't need to have it here. You can do arts, you can do nichos, you can do whatever. You know, I mean, you can turn that into whatever art wall that you want because it's sacrificial.
So you make it that thick for the thermal value.
I make it that thick for thermal value primarily because I'm kind of into the sustainability. If it's not sustainable, I'm not really interested, frankly, from my design standpoint. And so I think that those thicker walls, well, they automatically, a 24-inch wall. University did a test on one, and we built a house, or they built a house using my machine, and it was, I think it was only 18-inch wall. They did they put a sheet of foam in there? I think they did. But because the university did it, they went ahead and put some thermal sensors on there to find out what the temperature was going on with the walls and what the inside temperature and the outside temperature. and they showed me the data, and the inside temperature of that house in the summertime changed 3 degrees in 24 hours. Now, that's kind of that, Adobe flywheel effect, sort of on steroids. I'm not even trying to be sustainable necessarily, and I've already made that marker. That means that 3 degrees means that you don't chase the power day to night. There's a 30-degree temperature spread on the average, this convective temperature, air conditioner at anyone. So what that means is at least half the year, you don't have an air conditioning bill because you're just averaging the day and night. One of the things I'm working on right now is, okay, I got that part. Now let's get the yearly. I want to go summer to winter. I hope to stick within 2 feet, use the porous walls, blow in some air at night in Arizona and cool those walls down and have it flywheel through the next day. And if I could sort of trickle charge these walls in any 24-hour period, because I get these intense day, night, hot, cold cycles. That's kind of one of my objectives before I run out of runway, is to get that demonstrated that it can be done. I'm trying to develop logistics of how do you create a construction process that work into the next millennium, because what we have is not going to work, and it's not working now. This process reverses the whole construction process. In other words, if you build the forms like you're doing for in there, you can put anything in there, like plumbing, whatever, cavities if you want to. You just put that wherever you want, unobstructed by most anything else. And then as you fill it with the material is the self-detailing in a way. Gravity does most of the work. You haven't seen the old man time, but there's a picture, a slide of an old man's face. It's a carving. I took a photograph in Mexico off a door in Mexico City, and I blew that up into a larger image, and I cast that into everything I do, just sort of adding a soul to the building. Poetic way of thinking about this, because it's going to be there a long time, longer than the rest of us.
It's your signature.
It is a signature for me, and so I cast that in ice, just the face, and put that into the wall. And so I know it's there, and I can find it by there's a little bit of a ring when you're hitting a wall, and so I do that.
Could you talk a little bit about, when I was at your place, you showed me a few different samples with different binders that you were experimenting with. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I know everyone is also interested in other ways to do it other than Portland cement. Well,
there's a lot of different binders. I mean, Portland cement is just one that's popular. I guess in the very early stages of my work, one of the things I found worked pretty well, and I've mentioned this before, is skim milk. If you take dirt and you soak it in skim milk and you let that dry, it dries darn hard. The problem is that, you got milk now. This problem is that, cows will come up and lick the walls. And so I mean, I think they actually used it way back in the day. Anyway, there's a lot of other things. That's because it has a lot of casein in it. One of the ones that I have a lot of confidence in that I like the most is called Ferroc. Ferroc essentially takes waste steel dust and it converts it into iron. And as it converts from this waste steel dust to this, high-grade iron ore, it absorbs CO2. It takes a little water, and there's a reaction. Now, I like that mostly for the one. It's stronger than regular Portland cement. It's iron. It's a little heavier. It's chocolate brown. I have some samples here, and I'll bring them out. One of the reasons I like that is really for the poetry. How we got steel in the first place was starting with iron ore, and then we add coke to that, and you blend that together, and you get steel. And one of the waste products is CO2 gas, and that was considered genius at the time from a manufacturing standpoint, because you didn't have to drive the waste product to the dump. It just blew off in the air. So here we are, right? The fact that this reverses that process by absorbing CO2, it's exciting to me that there will be a lot of things out there that are going to be better than Portland cement.
Do you change your binder based on whether it's a default colder environment versus hotter or a less humid or more humid?
No,
Always.
it's strength would be probably what I adjusted for. I've come to a mix where I'm keeping 1,000 psi for a couple of reasons. One is I can treat the entire building like as if it was just solid wood and make connections to that with large lag screws.
Hey, Future Jonathan here. If you're watching this video and super bummed that you missed the Lavacrete Utility Lodge Workshop, well, guess what? We're announcing the Lavacrete Garden Bed Workshop May 2nd and 3rd. Is it super last minute? Yes, it is. Are we doing this because we had such a blast with Paul and Guru Das that we just needed to hang out with them again? Also, yes. But here's the really fun part. Turns out Lavacrete isn't just great for walls, it might also be the best way to build raised garden beds in the desert. Who knew? Well, Guru Das did. He's built over 20 of them all throughout Tucson, and they are consistently outperforming all the other garden beds that they're close to. In fact, Sprouts, the big grocery store, has actually hired him to build 17 of them at their headquarters in Phoenix based on their own research, which is really cool. There's a bunch of reasons that Lavacrete is so great for garden beds, and of course we're going to get into all that during the workshop, but the basic idea is really the porosity of the material, right? It makes sure that the root doesn't get too hot or too cold depending on the season. Also, it allows the soil to be oxygenated so it doesn't grow stagnant over time inside that enclosed space. Scoria is non-toxic, it's eco-friendly, and of course, as you've seen, once you build these layers up inside your forms, the result is absolutely beautiful. We're going to be building some Lavacrete garden beds during this weekend workshop, but I know a lot of you have also been asking, can you plaster with Lavacrete? Well, not technically. It's more of a wall building system. It's not a flowable plaster. However, we're going to experiment with a way to clad a hyperadobe wall with Lavacrete during this workshop as part of the larger project that will include some retaining walls and the garden beds that are all kind of connected together. The event will be held here on our homestead, so you'll actually get to see the Lavacrete Utility Lodge building finished before anybody else.
It's way too good.
And of course, Paul and Guru Das are going to be here on site again. They are both incredibly busy. They're the only ones doing Lavacrete right now, and their inboxes are overflowing with requests. If you want the opportunity to spend one-on-one time with both of them and ask questions and get answers quickly, this is going to be your best shot. So come build some Lavacrete garden beds with us May 2nd and 3rd. You can sign up at tinyshinyhome.com/events. Now let's get back to the current workshop.
What is the ideal when you release it and, say it's people here carry this forward and out in some way, right? What is the ideal way to carry it forward in your mind? But then also, what are the things that you distinctly are trying to avoid or do not have?
How do we steward it well?
I don't have a real clear answer to that. What I can say is that building a conveyor, a rolling conveyor, as just that single piece of equipment that can be rented or used by guys like Guru Das to build will take so much of the work out of doing this that I think people are going to be interested. I think I told you I'd like to make construction 4 parts fun and 1 part hard work rather than the other way around. Other than that, trying to come up with some guidelines for people like you guys who are kind of frankly inspiring to me, just your energy and your willingness to do this. So I don't know exactly how this is going to roll out, but I think making it easier for any grouping, any 2 or 3 people to be an effective. Just after talking to this crowd, it almost feels like build it and the people will come. There'll be interest. So I'm excited about that concept just based on the energy I feel from you guys. I think that my job in that case will just be available. Try to support the spontaneous builder group types. I think it seems like the time is right, I mean, these guys are kind of pushing me into this. God damn it, I got to do this right now. But it's a good problem to have. And I mean, I knew this would come. I mean, I could see this coming, and I'm trying to keep a low profile so I don't have to talk to people too much about what I know the most about, which is the failures. And this might be it. And someone taught me, I didn't invent this. So I've added my might, and you guys are next. I'm looking forward to see how that works. feels like the foundation for moving forward.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, but
We're starting something, that's for sure.
it's always his fault. Whatever happens here. You might see my picture around, but I wasn't there.
You're like, Paul did not approve this.
All right, so we just finished up a really great talk from Paul Schwam. We spent all afternoon just learning about the history of his experience with Lavacrete, and people asking a ton of questions. It was really good. But we have to make sure we get lift number 3, all of the boards in place so that we can start pouring tomorrow, because we want to make sure we have plenty of time to get this done. So we're working here a little bit late this afternoon, trying to get the rest of these forms in so we're ready to go in the morning. So wish us luck.
Yeah, let's pull apart.